Hi, this is Nix again. I just thought I would do a video about myself and who I am and how I came to be within the coven. A few months ago I was inspired to write how I came to my path, how I changed as I grew up. Well, to start off, I have no idea what to call myself. I'm a witch, but am I a solitary? Am I eclectic? I just go with all of them. I'm a solitary eclectic witch. But my path changes and evolves as much as I do, so undoubtedly what I say now will change at some point and become something completely different. A bit about my family, my background. My father, who's sadly no longer with us, I had very little contact with him or his family, but I know they were Catholics and quite strict. They would go every Sunday and Wednesday to church, and they would participate in all the church's events and activities. My mum's family are Church of England. This caused issues with my father's family to begin with, but eventually they sort of let it go. And they were never massive on going to church. They never went to church that often. Funerals, weddings, christenings, that's about the extent of going to church in my mum's family. My dad, well, they're atheists and not churchgoers. We had to ramble my dad into the church for his parents' funerals. My parents didn't get married in a church, they got married in a registry office. So he's not big on faith or religion, but they allow me to do what I want when I want, and I'm thankful for that. I didn't have pressure to be one way or the other. I was allowed to be whatever I wanted to be, which I know not many people get that chance, so I'm glad that I did. How I found my path, well, that's a bit of a painful story. I was 11 when my mum's dad died, my granddad, and I knew in what had happened to his physical body. I knew he had died, but I began to wonder what would happen to his soul, his spirit. What happens after you die? And after his funeral I asked my family these questions about God and what the vicar had been saying in the church, and they were telling me, and it was making little to no sense at all. 17 months later, my mum's mum, my nan, passed away. After a long, hard battle with cancer, I saw her deteriorate, and I think at this point I lost my faith in God, if I had any to begin with. This time I started asking the same questions, but in a different way. But I wasn't asking my family, I was looking elsewhere for answers. When I was 16, I got extremely ill. I was in intensive care for 6 months. I was very poorly. I wanted to give up, and I told my family this. I didn't want to fight anymore, and that hurt them. And this was when my faith began to wane, and I began to lose touch with the answers I'd found. While stuck in a myriad of hospital beds, I began reading books and looking on the internet, and the path that I had originally chosen of Wicca began to change, and it morphed into very much what my path is today. In 2009 I died during an operation, and the experience of that, which I will probably explain another time, changed the way I approached to what I believe and how I believe. It's hard to explain really, but it changed me on how I think. Most recently I've been learning and researching nocturnal witchcraft and how the night can be just as powerful as the light of the day. So, To the long and short of it, what I actually believe. To actually sit and put my beliefs into words, or in this case, say them, has been difficult. It's taken a long time and a lot of thought, and I still don't have it figured out. And to be honest, I hope I don't. It keeps me on my toes, it keeps me going. But this is sort of what I've figured out so far. I believe in all gods and goddesses. They're a part of a single being. Goddess is just a female aspect of that being, and god's a male aspect. There has to be balance in life, or it will help to scale out of control. The names we as humans have given them are aspects of that personifications of greater being. A quote I came up with is, all the jigsaw, it's like a jigsaw piece. Alone it is unique and completely individual from any form or any other piece. But put them together and all the pieces create something new, different, but beautiful all the same. For example, Gaia is the primordial goddess of the earth. She is, to me at least, the personification of Mother Nature and the earth itself. Hades is the personification of a human's fear of, at least, death, and the fascination of what happens to us after we die. So much so that the ancient Greeks actually referred to the underworld as Hades. While I believe that each aspect is unique and whole and part of something else, I won't say worship, but I do use certain deities, and most of them now are turning to more nocturnal: Nyx, Hades, Anubis, Hypnos, Morpheus. They're not darker, they're just different. How I practice, well, just as my beliefs change, how I practice changes with them. Many times it depends on where I am, the time of day, time of year, what I'm doing. Sometimes it's just a simple prayer in my head to a full-out ritual in where my altar is. I observe the Sabbaths and I read tarot, obviously. I love crystals. If you haven't seen any of my quite a good collection, just take a look, they're in an album somewhere. So in conclusion, I rarely have a clue to why I do the things I do. If it feels right, I do it. Some of this may make you think, what in the blue moon is she going on about? Well, you'd be joining me there. But if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll endeavour to answer them as coherently as possible. So thank you for watching and taking the time, and I hope